What up? It's Ben, and in this video, I'm going to share an objection handling masterclass that I just recorded yesterday for my client Morgan's clients. So she helps coaches grow their business, and some of them do fitness, some of them sell anxiety coaching, some of them are business coaches. And this objection handling framework that I shared is how I would handle any objection. So if you're getting, I want to think about it, that's too much money, let me talk to my spouse, I got to go and pray on it, whatever they are saying right now, this framework, this training, this masterclass is going to show you exactly how to handle every single objection. And there's a document that goes with it. I'll put that in the link in the description. If you like this video, make sure that you click the damn like button. Let me know. Comment what your biggest takeaways are. If you hate it, let me know. And without further ado, let's get into it.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna start recording so I don't forget.
Yeah, don't forget. And I have a girl closing tomorrow. We're getting on the sales call, a girl closing next week to get on the sales call, and then another girl closing in 2 weeks' time for the group. So it's kind of
Nice.
just like building the momentum. Like everything you've taught us is now for me just like
Trying to
turning.
click.
Yeah,
I love
but it's
that.
cool to see.
Cool. Anyone else have some cool stuff before we kind of dive in here? No? Okay, cool. So keep an eye on everything, but I spent hours. I've been talking about this objection handling masterclass for hours. So um, we have some principles here, some frameworks to follow, and then the specific words of like, what do you actually say when these things come up? And I just have the main objections here. Like, if you guys have like random ones that keep coming up, like I can add to this in the future, which I probably will. Like we can go through this now. If you guys are like, well, what about this objection? We can talk about that now. But this is like the main objections that we want to kind of cover. So hopefully you guys are excited because we're like, if you master this and the rest of the call's good, I mean, we should be making a lot more money. So yeah, just kind of run through this really quickly. Like the principles, just high level stuff. Some of this is like might be new to you. Some of it might be a good reminder. The big thing is like the number one thing with objection handling is to not take it personally. Do not get argumentative. Like think of going to your doctor. Like the doctor's not like thinking it's you versus him to like I have to get like to convince this guy to take like my prescription. He's there to like he's on your side, right? Like you're on the side of the person. So it's normal to get objections, right? Sales would be super easy if you never got any. And the whole thing is like you want to come from like a collaborative frame. So it's like, hey, we're on the same side here. It's me and you versus your problem, not me versus you. Right. Like I'm not just here to like help you make, I'm not just here to take your money. I'm here to like help you get your goal. Right. So that's like your overall intention. So again, the people only feel pressure like like I want a decision. A decision is yes or no, but people only feel pressured when you're pushing them towards the yes. This is like a big thing that I realized one day is it's like, oh, like I don't care whether you say yes or no at the end of the day. Like I want you to make the best decision for yourself. So that's the other thing. I don't settle for maybes or think about it. It's like think about it is not real. Like I want to get down to like we'll get into this, but again, like we're not pushing them to buy from you. You're pushing them to commit to their own goals for their own reasons. Kirsten says, I have a question that is a side tangent. It can wait, but it's around listing prices on your website. Um, yeah, I don't love listing prices on your website, but that's just me. But if they do show up if they know your price and they show up to your call, like that's like a lay down sale, basically, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, the whole thing is just like every objection, really what we're doing is just like, what is the main, there's like some roadblock that's preventing them from moving forward. We isolate it using the frameworks I'm going to show you guys. And then once we resolve it, we ask again, and like maybe another roadblock will come up. We just keep doing this until they run out of logical reasons not to buy. Then the only option left is fear. So I like the other thing here is I always treat every objection is logistical. Like I never like assume that they're just afraid to make an objection because it's like it's rude. And the other thing, this is the big one. Number 7 is a big one. So a lot of the times you feel like the call is the sales call, like the crescendo of the call, the emotional height is like right after you price drop. And as soon as they're like, no, I gotta think about it, you're like, oh man, it can have this like, oh, like you weren't expecting it. Like, damn. So what I realized is like I just started like treating the emotional height of the call for me is like 10 minutes after the price drop. Because I'm just assuming that they're gonna have something, right? Like, I'm just assuming sometimes they'll be like, okay, let's do it. How do we get paid? Or how do we get started? I'm like, oh yeah, you just pay. And it's awesome. But if you do this, you'll be less taken off guard. Right. And the other thing here is never assume you understand exactly what they mean. So while you always want to clarify, especially after you price drop and they ask you a question, there's always, in my mind, there's always like an objection behind that. So if they're like, oh, is that like a group program? And you're like, yeah, it's a group. And then they could be like, oh, I actually hate group programs because I was in a bad one before. So I don't think I'll do this. Right. So you always want to clarify, like you kind of answer, but you're like, I'm just curious, like what makes you ask that? Right. So that's big. This is another thing is like if you have a specific way of handling objections that you like the best, it's most natural for you. I always try to guide the conversation down that track, right? Like if you suck at handling like spouse objections, like I'm gonna try to like sidestep. Hold on, give me chat. This is great, awesome. Um, 3 rules of sales is something I learned from Taylor Welch way back in the day. He's a great sales guy. Always do what's best for the client. What's best for the client is always outside of their comfort zone. And the third rule is people will fight like hell to stay inside their comfort zone. So the whole thing is like understanding that there's going to be resistance, right? A lot of these kind of tie into each other. And then 11 here, you guys are getting like think about it a lot. You guys are getting like even spouse objections. These are always like a smoke screen. So what we want to do is learn how to pierce through them, which I'm going to show you guys how to do. How do we pierce through, think about it, and like, oh, let me talk to my spouse first. So we get to what's really going on, which is either it's almost always like the money or it's going to be like fear. Or they're just like not certain, right? It could be one of those three. Those are like the big three. Also certainty here, like when I say they're not certain, it's broken down into at least 4 parts, like certain on you and your process. Sorry, like your process, you or your company. Like in my case, if I was selling for somebody else, I would include the company here. Themselves, which is big. Sometimes they just don't think it's possible for them. Like they've seen all your testimonials and they think your process is great, but they just don't think that they can do it. And then the other thing is like the value. So it's like they have to feel like the price that you're charging, like the value is worth like 10 times more. Like that's, if they feel certain on all these things, you can kind of move on. There's another thing, like this is just a good practice, like number 13 here. You want to isolate every objection down to one sentence. It's like the reason the reason why they want to think about it is they don't feel like they have the time to execute the plan. Like that would be like a good example of isolating the objection. Like it's something very specific, which you can come back to me and be like, oh, okay, well, like next time this comes up, let's handle it this way. Right. But if they give you like 13 objections, like, oh yeah, it's just not the best time right now. I gotta go talk to my wife and think about it and like look at our finances and really kind of like see if this makes sense. Like that is like a whole bunch of stuff. We kind of have to like peel back layers of the shit onion and get to the the actual reason, right? And it's another thing. This is a good example. Like one sale that we can all make is we can always get someone more committed to their goals, right? On every single call, whether or not they buy, you can get them more and more committed, right? Like if you get to the end of the call and they're like, I'm 100% in, but they literally just don't have the money and like they don't have credit and all this stuff, like I would still count that like as a win. Like they're not paying you, but like you did everything you could, right? So sometimes it's just purely logistics. You can't close people and that's fine. As long as you're leaving the call knowing you did everything you could, like I'm okay with that personally. That's what happens with me. Like, yeah, I mean, I'd rather have that because if you're getting someone sold on you and your program, they'll go out and find the money and you might hear back from them this time next month or 2 months or 3 months. Hey, I'm ready to go now. They'll just come back out of the blue. Hey, I want to work with you now. And you're like, oh, you again. Oh, yes. I was totally just thinking about you. That's weird. They do. 2 girls. Yeah. So M, perfect example. This is another thing. I like to come up with analogies for every objection. So for example, like a good analogy is something that you use as like an everyday example. So for example, if they're like, I just don't understand how it works. You could be like, okay, I got you. Like, let me ask you a question. Do you go on any vacations? Yeah. When's the last place where's the last place you went? And like, I went to Mexico. Okay, cool. When you go to Mexico, like, do you want to know how like the plane works? Or do you just want to like sit on the plane and like trust that it's going to get you there? You don't care about like the aerodynamics of the wings and like all the buttons in the cockpit, right? Like, would you rather know that you're going to get there, or would you rather know how the plane works? I was like, I guess I'd rather know like the first one. Okay, cool. Like, do you trust that I can get you there? And then you can kind of like just having little analogy like that help. Like, if I've been burnt before, the classic one's like, well, have you ever like been in a relationship? Yeah, it's like, are you married? Yeah. Like, did you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend before you got married? Yeah. Okay. Like, after you guys broke up, did you just like swear off dating forever? No. Like, and it's the same thing here. It's like, yeah, you kind of know like what you don't want. That's a good thing, right? So, and this is another fun. Like, once you guys understand the exact wording of how to handle all these objections, you want to slow down. You don't want it to be like, as soon as they have an objection, you just boom, you come off with the perfect answer. You do want to slow it down. Like, it's like, oh, this is not something I've heard 1,000 times. It's like, oh, okay, that it's not a problem. You want to think about it, but I guess like in your opinion, I'll probably like look away and like act like I'm thinking about it. Do you feel like this can work for you though? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Like, what makes you feel like it can't? Anyway, Becky, what's your question?
Yeah, on the I'm backtracking a little bit, but on the certainty one, when you said that, I have had a few people go, well, I don't know if this is gonna work for me. Like, why would this process work for me instead of something else? And I know that maybe I've done a shit job at explaining.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't really know how to
Yeah,
overcome
yeah. So
that.
you want to put it back on them. So it's like, well, does the process make sense? Yeah. And you saw my other testimonials. Did you see like it's worked for other people? Yeah, you saw that. Okay. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, how will you know if you don't do it is one angle that you could go. But the other thing is like, well, if I give you a plan, like, do you like, will you commit to doing everything on your end to making sure that you're actually following it? Right? Because like, you can come up with another analogy. It's like, well, how many people hire a personal trainer, but they never lose the weight? Probably a few. This is like, well, why does that happen? It's because like that person wasn't really committed to losing weight. They just, were throwing money at the problem. So like with that one, you can like kind of throw it back on them. It's going to be hard to like logically. It's like, oh well, like if you go deeper into the weeds of explaining, like, well, this is how this thing works. Sometimes that can just backfire. You give them too much information, and then they want to think about it. So we got a few questions. Yeah, like, did you have another question, Becky, about that, or
Nope,
oh, what about you, M?
You can call me Emma. Look, most people call me Emma.
Okay.
Um, but M's too. Oh, they're all good. I was just gonna say one thing that I've done that I found like quite effective in handling those objections where people are like, will this work for me? Is
Yeah.
on the sales call, I have like a little method that I show them. Like I bring up a picture of like pillar 1, 2, 3, 4. And while I go through each pillar, I say, like, is it okay if I reference a little bit about what you've been telling me just to show you how it could really support you? And then like, I'll be like, pillar 1 is this. And then I
Yeah.
will tell them, like, in your journey, this would be so powerful because blah, blah, blah. So that objection never comes up because the whole way that you've been explaining your process, you
Yeah.
basically
It's
connect it to
like, yeah, like that's what I do. So like when I'm pitching, I'm like, okay, so you know how you told me like your biggest problem right now is that people just keep giving you think about objection. Well, the way that we're going to handle that is I'm going to give you my framework for da 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 da, so that you just, every time you hear that, you're going to know exactly how to. So it's like you have this problem. Here's my solution, so that you can get this benefit, which means that you won't have to worry about this anymore. Does that make sense? Yeah, you can do it that way. You can do it Emma's way, or you can do it like a testimonial. Well, like, hey, you know how you told me that you had this problem where you just like every time you just whatever problem they have. If you have a testimonial of a client, the same problem that you helped, it's like, well, like I have a problem. Like I have this client named George, and George had the same issue. And like what we did is I showed him how to do this and this, And after that, he never had that problem again. So you can kind of do it like one of the three ways. So just like to summarize, it's like when you're pitching problem solution, which is basically what you said, or like using a testimonial. Ideally, like before you get to the price drop, you get all these uncertainty kind of things out of the way. Like, oh, I don't know if it'll work for me. Because like I don't want to like tell them what the price is and then they tell me that. So like, ah shit, like it's gonna be a lot harder to close up sales. So yeah. So in order to like move on to like the frameworks, the very like this is the order, like in math, if you're going to do algebra, they have like the order of operations. Like we have an order of operations that kind of handle objections in. Like I always go with certainty first. And like I guess I should actually have to like think about it. Right. And then spouse partner, money logistics, and then fear. So a lot of it can just be broken down in the following three objections. Like, hey, if I give you, like, why aren't they saying yes? It's like they don't believe that if they give you their money, that they'll get the result. Some version of that. They don't have the money to give you, or they want to do it. They have the money. They're just afraid. They're just like, there's self-doubt, or there's fear, or there's like indecision. There's something like emotionally holding them back from doing it. Right. So it's like, it's kind of like high level. Ben, post them in the channel. Yeah, I'll post this one in the channel, Kirsten. So yeah, Julian asks, will you guys get the sheet? Yes, definitely. If we have time, we can go into looping. It's not like, this is more of an advanced thing, but like I'll explain it a little. So like looping is like if somebody's like super afraid, it's like you can, what's the best way to explain this? So it's like you kind of like reframe them and kind of, let me just go to a quick example here. So, right, if we go through all the objections and you're like, okay, like it's still like a big move, whatever. It's like, okay, gotcha. Like I understand this is a big move for you and that, you might need to think about it or whatever. But can I ask you a question though? Like, do you feel your mindset affects your decision-making process? Yeah. Okay. And are you 100% happy? Like, are you 100% happy with where you're at right now with your business or with your relationships or your body or whatever? And they'll go, no. Okay, well, like, do you want that decision-making process to dictate your results moving forward? And they go, no, I don't. Well, why not? And they go, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what do you feel like you need to do to put yourself in the best position to get the outcomes you want? Right. So like a looping basically is like we have all these different reframes and like you can come up with your own, but there's like this is a very broad statement. Like what do you feel like you need to do to put yourself in the best position to get the outcomes you want? So very broad. The next time I do this, I'll be like, what do you feel like you need to do? So like the elements that we want to use are like specificity of outcomes. So it's like, what do you feel like you need to do to put yourself in the best position to lose the 20 pounds or to make the 10K per month or to whatever, like, so you can go specific outcome. So like every time I loop, I'm going to turn up the heat on these a little bit. The other one's time frame. Like, what do you feel like you need to do tonight so that you go to bed knowing that you did everything you could to put yourself in the best position so that you could get the result? So like there's time frame, there's specific outcome, and then there's like intensity. So it's like, the very first time I go through this reframe, I'm like, it's very casual. So like, what do you feel like you need to do to put yourself, in the best position to get the outcomes you want? It's very broad, very casual. By the end of this, if I've gone through like 4 of these loops, I'm like, what do you need to do tonight? It's like more direct. So like you guys, like this is like advanced stuff. I just put it in here because it's, some of you guys might get there. Like overall, like these main frameworks and the things I'll go through, you won't have to do any of this stuff. I just put it in here just to do it. But anyway, these are the frameworks, right? So like I actually have the specific word tracks under this, but someone says, hey, I need to think about it, or any version of this, which is like, I need to sleep on it, pray on it, mull it over. I need to like go and like talk to my, I don't know, whoever about it, my dog. You always just like discern. Yeah, cool. No problem. You want double tie down first. Okay. Do you feel like this process can get you the result though? Yes. What makes you feel that way? Oh, this and this. Okay. Well, then we want to go and pierce through the objection. Well, like, what is the real thing? Like what's actually holding you back here? Right. It's actually going to be more, I guess, I just have these there. I can actually just go right to the specific word tracks. and we can role play some of these after. You guys can go through these. I'll put the sheet in the Slack channel. So like this is like specifically like what I would say for like, well, like let me think about it. Okay, like, oh, this is a partner objection. Oh, this is like the money objection. And when I say like money and logistics, that means like they just don't have they need a payment plan basically, right? Like they don't have the full amount up front. And then there's fear. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff here for fear. And to be honest, like fear is like the hardest one to overcome. Just because it's like you're overcoming the person, not an actual objection. So there's some stuff here, but before I keep blabbering on, does anyone have any questions about what I've kind of run through so far? No one?
I do.
Oh, we got one. Yeah,
You
what's
know,
up?
you mentioned earlier, and I actually get this quite a lot when someone's like, I need to go talk to my husband and check my bank account and do this and do that.
Yeah.
And they say like 5 objections. I get really overwhelmed and just sort of shut down. How do you
Mm.
handle that?
Yeah, 100%. So we kind of go back to this whole like order of operations here, right? So it was like, okay, before you do all that though, do you feel like the process that I just walked you through can get you to the result though? Yeah, I feel that way. Okay, cool. Like, well, what makes you feel that way though? Well, like it seems like you have a good step by step, da 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 da. And then I'll probably just go to the next one. Okay, you got to talk to your husband. Okay, like then you can just go down here to like the partner. Well, I'd probably say, well, you can start here. So it's like, okay, no problem. When you do go to your husband or your wife, or your partner, whoever, um, like, do you feel like he would want you to learn the skills to deal with your, anxiety so that you could be a better partner for him? Or like, how do you think he would feel? So yeah, he'd probably want you. Yeah, okay, cool. So I guess you could add, like, so the next one is like, okay, cool. And now when you go and talk to him, is it more like asking for his support? Like you're going to do this, you just want him backing you, or is it more of like I need his permission type of thing? What's that conversation going to be like? Right. And so there's actually another framework here. Like if they're not on board and not proceed, I kind of like I didn't make this flow chart up. I just got it from some guys named Sales Sniper, which they're like their process is pretty good for this. But anyway, where are we? Julian raised his hand. So anyway,
Yeah,
yeah, you can say like, what if he says no? But anyway, what's up, Julian?
well, yeah, I'm just following up on this spouse thing. I really like to get this handled before because it's like it seems so hard to get past it. Because what these guys say to
Yeah,
me is like, well, it's more just like of a like a respect thing. Like we make
yeah,
decisions
yeah,
together.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know where to go from there.
So exactly. Either way, I'm going to finish up with this one, which is like, gotcha. I suppose when you do go to your partner, husband, wife, whoever, what do you feel like? Well, what do you feel will be some of like his or her concerns about you doing something like this, right? Because we got to remember that the partner or the spouse. Oh, let me just include this here: partner slash spouse. It's usually like a smokescreen, right? Like it's a smokescreen
Yeah,
for like it's a lot of money. Like I don't have the money, or like I'm just like afraid of doing it. Like, what do
exactly.
you feel like would be some of his concerns? And they're like, let's be honest, 90% of the time, they're going to be like, it's the money, right? So then you have that conversation.
Yeah.
Have you ever shared a doc? So Emily Gosford says, have you ever shared a doc like this about the rest of the sales call? No worries. If not, I'm just wondering if there's no, like the discovering stuff. No, I don't have that yet. I mean, I could easily come up with one for you guys. There's just so many different ways you could run the call, and it kind of depends on like what you sell. Like my script for like a B2B offer is different for like a fitness one. Like obviously, but different questions. Um, I can make that no, Emma. Vanessa, you got your hand up. What's up?
So I had a sales call yesterday, and the difficulty was she was like really resistant to even identifying her own problem. She was very evasive about it. She kept saying that the
Yeah.
problem was that I'm a dating relationship coach. And she's like, the problem is that I just live in a small town and I just need to move. And I'm like, well, like, You know, if
Yeah,
that's
that's not a problem you can help with, you know?
yeah, exactly. I'm like, if that's your problem, why did you book a call with me? Like, you know, that's like
Yeah.
just and so like I really had to keep
See, like,
pushing.
yeah,
Go
that's
ahead.
like a really good. So I say this a lot. It's like part of the like the discovery, like one of your outcomes is to get them to take, like, they have to see that their problem is like an internal problem, right? It's either that you don't have. It's not that you're living in the wrong place. Like, it's not that, you know, whatever. It's like you have to get them to see that it's either a lack of skills or a lack of like the right process or frameworks. Like, it's something that they're missing. It's not like, oh, I just don't live in a place where there's any good guys. Like, you have to get them to kind of admit that.
So then I mean, eventually with like enough prodding, I got her to kind of see, she's like, oh, well, maybe I have some fears of trusting men. So like I started to, but she was still very resistant to seeing like that as actually like a present day problem, would just keep going back to um that it's like location. I almost like just like
Well,
rejected
it's
her totally,
like,
said this is not a fit because you don't feel like you have, you know, an issue I can help you
well, it's
with.
like, hey, listen, like, you can go the logical route, which is like, well, hey, like, how many people live in your town? Okay, and like, is it the fact that there's like literally no guys there that are like your type? There's just not like what is the actual problem? But the other thing is, it's like, hey, if you do move to a bigger city, like the fact that you just told me that you have issues trusting men, do you feel like that's going to resolve itself because you're in a bigger city suddenly? Or do you feel like you might need some support around that? You know, like, and then
Okay.
like that's the
I
real
feel
question.
it's so tough. I feel her resistance, and then like like energetically, I feel it in my body, and then I just like I kind of freeze. Like I feel her like resisting. I don't know. Yeah, that kind of skill is so
So
difficult.
yeah, it's like, yeah, if you're buying into their own limitations, you're not doing them any favors, right? So
It's
it's like, oh
almost
yeah,
like
I guess you do live in a shitty town. I guess I can't help. Yeah.
I feel like the resistance is almost like they're fighting against me, and then that's what makes me kind of like resist them. Like almost like I
It's like you versus them, but rather
yeah,
than
that's what it kind of
you and
energetically
them versus her problem.
uh-huh. Okay, so that's helpful. And then she
They
gave
have to
me
understand, like,
uh,
they have, like, you have to almost sometimes just say that, like, hey, we're like on the same side here. Like, I want you to have a healthy dating life. Like, I'm not here to like, you know, trick you or something. Like I care about you. Like, I want you to have a good dating life. So sometimes you literally have to tell them that so that they can be like, okay, like this person actually does have my best interest in mind.
okay, I think
I just
that yeah,
seen
that was
the,
really helpful.
hold on,
And then she gave me a
this thing
time
just,
objection at the end and was like, "Oh, well, actually, I just, you know, I don't have time on my calendar," which I was just kind of exhausted by handling the other objection. I just like took it and like was knocked out of the fight.
yeah. So, yeah, the timing objection also comes into like, there's either like bandwidth, which is I literally don't have time to do this right now, which is like you basically have to actually there's it's a bandwidth and like timing, right? So it sounds like that was more of a bandwidth thing. So I actually have that in here. I could flesh it out a bit more, but the whole thing is like, where is it? It's up in my frameworks. Yeah, so that's like a time. It's a logistical thing related to time, which is, hey, I don't have the time to do this. So you could ask.
Are you screen sharing at the moment? I can't see anything.
I'm not. No. So
Sorry.
with bandwidth, I mean, you basically could ask, well, how long do you think it's going to take? Or like, because they might, like, your program might only take an hour a day, but they might think, oh, it's going to take me like hours and hours to do this. Right? Like, I was doing a mock call with my buddy who's selling a new offer. And well, he was like explaining his program. It's like, oh, we're going to help you build a network on LinkedIn and do this and do that. And I'm like, that just sounds like it's going to take forever. Like, that was my objection. I'm like, well, how long is this going to take? Because he didn't explain it in his pitch. And he's like, oh yeah, it only takes like an hour. But like sometimes it's literally just like they think that it's going to take all this time, and it's not. The other thing is like with bandwidth, it's kind of a BS objection because like you make time for the things that are important to you. And I would call them out on that. It's like, well, like I don't have time to go to the gym. Like I'm busy, like, but I still go because it's important. So like, how important is it for you to do this? And sometimes you have to like, if you have the authority, like just call them out on it. It's like, well, you're here, right? Like, no worries, Amy. We're recording this time, so I'll have the doc. So anyway, so there's that. I'll actually have to flesh out this whole like time logistics thing. So Katie, I just want to get to your thing in the chat here. It says, actually, I have been a spouse objection before, and being on the same page with my partner on a larger investment. The best experience I had was they talked me through what objections my spouse would have about me investing in the course of program, and then allowed me to talk through all that with them and gave me the space to talk to them, but I still had a deadline to enroll. Yeah, I mean, like if you go down here, so it's like establish, hey, partners not on board, but will still proceed. You can go for the soft close or handle the next objection. If the partner is not, if they're not on board and they won't proceed, well, then you can either like schedule a follow-up call or you can do like a deposit. It's like, okay, well, gotcha. Like, how long do you think you need to talk to them? And it should only be a day, right? Okay, cool. And then you can say, let's do this, put down a deposit, come up with your own reasons. Just say, hey, like, cool, this is what I do. Put down a refundable deposit. This will like not hold your spot in the program, but it's like, this is like, you're taking the first step towards doing this. And if they're like, I would actually, sometimes you can either like actually just like close them and like get them in the program and tell them like, listen, like you talk to your partner and like, before I keep blabbering on, like you want to isolate that the spouse is the only thing keeping them forward, like only thing holding them back from moving forward. Okay, gotcha. So if your partner, if your spouse, if she or he was here and she was totally on board, would we be working together, or is there anything that's keeping you less than 100% confident that this is something you want to do? And if they're like, no, I just have to talk to them. Okay, cool. So you can either do a deposit, or you could try to close them and just say, listen, I'll do you a favor. Like, I'll get you in the program. If we can start working together, I'll give you like 2 or 3 days to talk to them. If they're like completely against this, no worries. I'll just refund you. Like, I don't want to cause a divorce here over, my program. So you could do that. Or if you're like, I don't know if I could do that, just probably just go for the deposit. Worst case, you schedule a follow-up. Like, the thing is, like, are they really sold on your program? That's the big one. So Julian, what's up?
Like when you schedule the follow-up, is it always like 2 days after or?
For a partner or spouse,
Yeah,
I would want to do it within like 24 hours. I'd like
24 hours. Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, well, do you want to call them right now? Like I have time. Like if they tell you like, oh, I'm gonna need like a week to talk to them, I'd be like, well, that's weird. Like I don't know about you, but I talk to my girlfriend like every day. I'm like what kind of relation? Like, I would kind of call them out on it. Like, you
Yeah.
need like a whole week to talk to your wife. Like, what's really going on, man? And level with me. Like, I don't care. Like, do you actually want to do this? Are you just trying to get off the phone with me right now?
Yeah.
I was like, like, well, actually, yeah, I don't really want to do it. Okay,
Do
great.
you,
See ya.
yeah. Do
So,
people ever come back to the spouse thing? Like they hit you at the spouse thing initially, you go through the smoke screen, you find out it's money, you talk through the money thing, and like you kind of make it work, and then they're like, yeah, but I just like really need to talk to my wife. Like,
yeah, in that case, like they can go back to it, right?
yeah.
Usually is smoke screen, but like if they're like, yeah, it's I like what I would do is I would say I don't actually have this here because it can get a bit complicated, but the idea is like, okay, if they were here and they were on board, would we be working together right now? And if they go yes, it's like, okay, cool. Well, you can go for a deposit, or you can try to close them, or you can go for a follow-up within 24 hours. Um, and basically, like, if they're like, well, like, if they go like, well, actually, it's kind of a lot of money. What concerns do you feel like she might have? Well, that's kind of a lot of money. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Is it more of a case where you could say, would it be fair to say it's just an issue with like the logistics of the investment? You just don't have an extra 2K sitting around liquid, rather than me actually being able to get you to this XYZ result where you can play guitar really awesome, right? Is it money or like certainty? So you could say like that, and they go, nah, it's just like, you want to know, like, well, okay, so is it that you have to go and like, even if she's on board, you have to go and like come up with $1,800, like you don't have that full amount, or you have the money, but you're just a little unsure moving forward. Because then we're kind of isolating it a bit further. Is it like, it's either like that's fear, like if they had the money, like they're just a little unsure, like that's basically fear, or like otherwise it's like they just need a payment plan. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like, if they have to go and find the money, like it's like, okay, well, like I can work with you on that, right? So yeah,
And Ben, sorry,
yeah,
just quickly before you move
yeah,
on,
go for it.
if on the question where you say, do you feel like this program's actually going to work for you? And then they go, oh, I'm not sure. Then do you go to the uncertainty thing? Okay.
Gotcha. I mean, is there a specific part that maybe you feel like won't work is there a specific reason why you feel that way? Like, what part of the program are you concerned? Are you like maybe confused about? Like, you can go down that road. You just really just want to see, like, is it your process? Is it you? Like, they just don't know you enough? Is it themselves? Or is it like they just don't feel like your program's worth the money that you're asking? And keep having to close this to see the chat. I have a call in. Oh yeah, I'll drop this in the. Let me drop this in Slack right now. Settings.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, objection handling masterclass. Doc. Boom. Yeah. So, like I said, there's probably other ones. I could probably expand a bit on like the timing ones.
Can I ask a quick question, please, Ben?
Yeah.
It's Katie. Would it be fair to say the way that I look at sales is that if I have successfully conveyed the value of the work, like they will always want to do it. And if they don't have the money, they will go and find the money. I think like that's the way that I'm looking at it, but I don't know whether I'm putting too much pressure on myself with that way of thinking.
Yeah, that way of thinking, it doesn't include fear.
Yeah.
Like there's things that I totally want to do, and I had the money to do it, like skydiving or something like that. But I'm still not like, oh, let's go tomorrow. I'm like, you'd have to like convince me, like, all right, we're gonna go tomorrow. I'm like, I don't really want to. Like, do it. This is your only chance to do it. I'm like, okay, fine, fuck. But yeah, like there's like people are complicated, right? Like we can make frameworks, like, but at the end of the day, it's like there's like the people factor is like what makes sales difficult, right?
Yeah.
And like sales, what we're doing is like it's a logical understanding of an emotional process. So it's like you start throwing people's weird emotions in the way, and I mean, we can have the best script in the world, and it's like some people just never buy. Like that's the other thing. Like some people perfectly qualified, they'll just never buy. It's just like part of the process. All we can do is give ourselves the best shot of closing the closing people.
Yeah. I think I need to let go of that because it's not helping me. It's like just creates like a massive pressure cooker.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise you're like, oh, why don't I have 100% close rate? Like I suck. You're like, well, it's like not the best way to look at it. Like you want to help them get out of their own way. And that's what a lot of like the fear stuff is. Because again, like fear is like the hardest thing to overcome. And you need a lot of authority in yourself and certainty in yourself to do it. Right. And like I can like show you the word, like it's like word tracks here, but like a lot of this comes from like your own conviction and like see like this like some of these things is like high convictions, like hey, like you need high conviction here, and like a lot of this is like I can kind of like give you examples, but yeah, it's like this is why I asked the other day, hey, scale of 1 to 10. 10 is like I like scale 1 to 10, 10, 10's the highest, obviously. It's like, how much do you feel like your program is like the best thing they can spend their money on right now? Like, I feel like my program is so good, it will change their life. Like 10 out of 10. Like Brian's like, I'm 11 out of 10. Or not Brian, the other guy, Sean. Sean's like, I'm 11 out of 10, right? Like, that's good. If you're 11 out of 10, then you can easily go through all this stuff because like you feel it in your bones that like your program's going to change your life. But if you're like a 5, a few people said they're like a 5. Like Amanda's like, I'm like a 5 or a 6. Like it would be very hard for me to sell something that only feels like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. And like, if they're like any objection, they were like, I don't really want to do it. Like, okay. And like, that was with me with the trumpet thing. I still have this high ticket trumpet program. And I'm like, I don't care about trumpet. I like convince these grandmothers to like you have to do this. They're like, I just want to play trumpet for my kids at Christmas. I'm like, you have to give us 6,800 or you'll die. Like, I don't actually care. Like, this wasn't the best thing for me to sell. My conviction was like probably a 6. So it's important. Like, that's the other side of this. Like, when you're going through your own calls, like how much conviction in your own stuff do you actually have? Right? Like, I would look at like maybe like Emma. Like, you probably have pretty high conviction in your stuff right now. What would you say your conviction is, Emma? Explain, in case we have 2 in here. 11 out of 10. Boom. See? 11, like that's where you need to be. Like, Julian, what's your conviction right now? How good is your program? Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Killer.
What is it out of 10?
10.
Did that sound like a 10?
Oh,
Anyway.
I was saying like out of 10. I was questioning myself.
10. I'm like a 10. It sounded more like a 7, bro. Come on.
No, like it's killer. I'd say it's like 9.
Okay.
Like, can always be better.
Yeah. All right. Does anyone else have any questions about this stuff? 'Cause I'm going to probably keep adding to this and just make it better, but I just wanted to get something done today because I've been telling you guys I'm going to come up with this for the past like 3 months.
I feel like I am a 10, like, but I feel like it sounds too salesy when I'm like, this will change your life because I know it will change their lives. But I feel like the more convicted I am, the more not real it sounds almost. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's weird. I never heard that one before. So like, you feel like your conviction sounds fake to them? They're like, oh, this person's trying to trick me.
Yeah, because it makes me feel more salesy.
Ben,
Huh.
that makes me think of when you reviewed my call and you said that I sounded like I was high on my own supply. I don't know if that's the kind of thing that Becky's referring to.
That's it, yeah.
I guess it just depends like how you come across. Like if I had a program that was like a money printer, like you give me 10K and it's going to like, it's like 100% chance it's going to make you like 100K in a month. I wouldn't be like, you have to do this. It's the best thing ever. I would be like, yeah, this is, yeah, here's all our results. Every single client that we worked with, 100% of the time, they all made 10x their investment every single month. You can do it if you're not, if you don't want to do it, that's cool. But like this works. Like that's how I would, I guess it's like when I think about it, it's not like you're like, this is the best thing ever. It's like, you just don't have it. It's like an absence of self-doubt more so than like you're like a preacher is telling you how awesome Jesus is or something like that. You know, it's like, that's how I think it, you know.
Yeah, that's really helpful. I think I need to like balance out that tone because I think I wasn't speaking with
Yeah,
confidence.
it's a show don't tell energy. Exactly. It
Yeah.
really is a show don't tell energy. So yeah, this program, you know, it's basically full. Like I'm like not even accepting other clients right now, like for the next probably like 6 months. And like, you know, every single person I work with, they get crazy results and they love it, which is awesome. But I mean, you guys can't even join. Like, don't even message me. I don't even want to work with you guys. You guys were like, what? Like, well, I kind of want it now. You know, it's not like I'm saying, oh, that's so fucking amazing. You have to do it. It's more of like you're it's like a gravity. You're drawing them into you versus like pushing them into it. It's like more of a pull versus a push.
I was also gonna say, like, I think the thing that's like the most attractive thing ever, if you think of like masculinity for a woman, is like the nonchalant. It's like, yeah, like obviously, this is what it is and it's amazing and like, but it's, no
Yeah.
pressure and like it's already full. Like it is what like attracts people innately.
Yeah.
And so I always like listening to Ben when he talks, like I just mimic him. Like that's the reason I come on these calls, because Ben just sounds attractive to buy from. Like whatever he talks about, it just sounds like it's just
Yeah,
like a thing.
because you're always like
that.
you're always like manipulating like the buyer seller dynamic. It's like it's hard to explain. I just had something, it just made me think of something, but
unattached.
like
It's like
if
the
you're doing
ball.
like, even if you're telling your own story, like let's say like you had this crazy story, like yeah, I had this business, I made like 7 figures, I'm so cool. Like I would be playing that down, like yeah, let's say I'm just gonna make up Julian's story, like I don't know if this is actually a story, but like yeah, I mean, you're probably wondering like, hey, why am I teaching this? Why should you come to me? It's like yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I went to like the best school for guitar. I played for all these cool lead bands and I toured across Europe and stuff. Kind of boring, Yeah, I got a couple Grammys. But anyway, like the program, you want to know about it? Like I would like play it down, but it doesn't sound like you're kind of like bragging, but it's like, oh, this, yeah, it's hard to describe, I guess. But yeah, like there's a lot of stuff here, and like you can feel free to go through all these different like reframes. Like you shouldn't really, most people, you'll get them with just this piece. Like if it's a fear, so once we've eliminated every logical reason for them not to buy today, and they're still like, oh, I want to go think about it. Like we know it's fear, basically. Like that's like the end of the order of operations up here. We got chat. All right, see you, Becky, I guess, if you're leaving. So if I go through all this stuff, we go through, the fact that they want to think about it and talk to their spouse. We go through that. We go through the money. We go through the time. They have the time to do it. They have the money to do it. But they're still not moving forward. Then it's like it's fear. So it's like, okay, let's like roll up our sleeves now. And I'll tell you guys this. This is another principle. If it's a fear objection, okay, this is an important one. If it's a fear objection, you have to close them on the call. You like if they leave that call, the chances of them coming back are like 0. So you got to just go for it, right? So, yeah, we're overcoming. We're not overcoming an objection with fear. We're overcoming a person, their way of thinking. Like the main thing is like they need to take responsibility for themselves, right? And so when you're going through this, some things are like very framework. So okay, would it be fair to say that you're just looking for a bit of certainty here? Like, is it just nerves? Like, yeah, I guess, yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, well, like we've come to the agreement that you feel it will work, right? You feel it will, not you think it will. Which channel did you post in? Setting and sales, I think. Where'd it go? Yeah, setting and sales, Julian. It's like, yeah, okay, you feel it will work, right? Well, the other side of this is if you don't do it though, how will you ever know? And this is like more of a statement. It ends with a question mark, but it's just a statement. And they're like, yeah, I get it. So like this is a thing that like you can use your own analogies here. I would just suggest you come up with your own, but what this analogy is like a visual kind of thing. Okay, like we just established that I like the mountain one because it's like it's like natural. So it's like you're here at the bottom of the mountain. Everything that you just said that you want is here at the top of the mountain, right? Like the fact like you at 20 pounds lighter, or you like ripping guitar, or you like super confident and no more anxiety, or like you like making 20K per month. Like that's you up there. But like you're down here, everything you want is at the top of the mountain. So ultimately it's up to you if if you're going to put one foot in front of the other and start walking up the mountain. Like let me ask you a better question though. It's like, are you willing to do every single thing needed to make sure this works for you? And you can include this other stuff here, like your family, your future, like especially if you're selling something like money related. If this might be too much for some people, but are you willing to make sure are you willing to do every single thing needed to make sure it works for you so that you can actually XYZ like get to their goals? Yes or no? Right? We want to get them recommitted to their goals. Right? That's the big thing. Number one. You guys aren't seeing the document in the Slack? I'm looking at it right now. Let me maybe I'll tag Julian. Wait. Here, let me put it in the Zoom channel at least.
I also don't see it in Slack, so maybe it just hasn't uploaded just yet.
That's weird. I just dropped it in the Zoom channel for now. So it's like, okay, so you get them recommitted. Like, yes, I am willing to do every single thing I need. Okay, cool. So like, but what would you do if you knew all you had to do to get to the top of the mountain was to just be there? And I will make sure I do everything on my end to make sure you're successful. But the real question is, like, what would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail? Well, I'd probably do it, right? Like, but how will you know if you don't even commit to yourself first? So either like we come together and we push, and I'm with you every step of the way. And I know it's scary and hard, and it's supposed to be, but we come together and we draw a line in the sand and we just fucking go for it. You meet the fear head on, or we just kind of crumble and go back to, you know, whatever they say, whatever their current situation is. I guess you could probably say current situation. So this is the thing, like people, the highest driver of behavior is identity, right? So like there's a version of, like, I believe there's a version of you right now that's already at 20K per month. It's already like master guitar solo, who's already fit and in great shape, right? That version of you, like what's the best decision that version of you makes, right? How do you feel he or she makes this decision right here, right now? Like that man you want to be, the man who's at 20K per month, providing for his family. This is an example. You can plug it in your stuff. Like, how do you feel he makes this decision right now, right? Do you think he stands up or is it down? Like, and then it basically just like, okay, well, like, where do you want to go from here? Like, what do you want to do from here? Something like along those lines. So bringing back to responsibility. And so like, what's the best decision you need to make to put yourself in the position where you can X, Y, Z? That's kind of like how, like, that's the loop for fear. Sorry, I got the chat. I did this today with a holiday packing analogy. Tell us about it, Katie.
I basically was trying to get her to understand that she needs to make the decision from the place, from the person of where she wants to be, not the person she wants to be now. And I was like, when you're packing to go on holiday and it's freezing in the UK and you're going somewhere hot, you don't pack clothes that you're going to be wearing now based on the temperature that you're in right now. You like project yourself 2 days into the future and you go, it's going to be hot. I'll pack all my tiny clothes. And I was like, it's the same thing. You've got to make the decision from that place, from the place that you're going to be, rather than where you are now. Otherwise, you're not going anywhere. Yeah. But she seemed to quite like that like holiday packing analogy. Yeah.
So yeah, this is basically this like identity-based decisions is one of these reframes. Like you could just go straight to this. And so it's like, hey, we all make decisions based on our perspective, but the hardest thing is making decisions based on where we want to be, right? The overweight person is only overweight because they make decisions. Sorry, they make the choices that an overweight person makes, right? This probably resonates more with Brian. It's like, hey, it's like they have a fundamentally flawed decision-making process around their health and fitness and nutrition. So it's not until they make decisions of a fit and healthy person that they become a fit and healthy person. Do you get what I mean? So it's like, what choices do you need to start making to get the perspective that you want to have? So this is like an example here, but same idea. It's like, you know, like, hey, like what choices do you have to start making? Like what would an emotionally healthy person do? Something along those lines. I think I have this in here twice. I definitely have this in here twice. Yeah, I do. All right. So yeah, I think we kind of like gone through all this. Do you guys want to, I guess, first of all, does anyone have any other questions? If not, we can do maybe some role plays. Vanessa, what you got?
What am I unmuted? Oh yeah. One quick question. So in the DMs, like kind of, it's like almost sales in the DMs, but a woman says, I did 6 months of intimacy coaching that really helped. I understood my past patterns and released trauma. I believe there's always more work to do. Your course offers have always interested in me, but I mainly have I'm having a break from external help for financial reasons, legal fees over custody. So that's where I get stuck around like when a woman tells me, oh, I'm going through a divorce and I have legal fees and custody, then I'm like, I just kind of like, okay, she can't invest in herself. But how would you manage that in the DMs? Just, she says, So if I feel I
Yeah.
need to do more work, it could be something to look at further down the road.
Yeah. So it's a good one. So I would probably say like, hey, regardless of whether we work together, I'd be happy to just jump on a quick call and lay out some of the frameworks or some of the processes or whatever that have worked for my other clients in the situation. That way you can start making progress on your own. And if you do want to know and it looks like to work deeper with me, obviously we can go over that as well. You know, would you be up for that? And then basically what I would do is just get them on a call and sell them on the program, and then go through the money and logistics and just say, well, what do you actually have available? Like, is there a way to do this now? If not, worst case, we can make a plan for the future, and then just put that person kind of like in the pipeline if they literally don't have the money right now.
Okay. Thank you.
I just be like, listen, like I'll jump on the call, give you some value. If you want to work with me, I could talk about that. But yeah, I just want to help. It's kind of like the frame I come from. Brian.
Okay. So I think that some people think they're going to get behind when they do a program, right? That's one of the things in their mind. Like, oh,
Like
shit.
financially?
No. Like if I miss a day or two, I'm going to be so far behind, then it's going to be too hard. I'm not going to catch up and I'm not going to get anything out of it, right? I think that's why some people don't want to get started when they're really busy, right? So for me, and I was going to say this earlier, for me, when people ask about the program, and I tell them right up front too, like, I don't have a program. I am doing one-on-one training for you wherever you're at right now. We're going to skip all the bullshit that you might, if you start a program, you might have to go through all this stuff that you don't actually need to know because you already know it, or it's not applicable to you. So you're wasting your freaking time anyway. Like, we're going to get right at it. And I think this is about, like, I don't have a lot of problems with objections about time or anything like that, because like I iron out the fact that like you're eating, I'm a fitness guy. So like you're eating and you're probably moving. So we're just going to tweak some of the things that you're doing to make this work wherever you're at right now. So like, I don't have to answer all the questions about the program or if you're going to get behind or if you have time or anything. Like, I've eliminated all that, like that you're going to get behind. People are worried about that because they think it's like school. If I miss 3 days of school, I'm going to have to make up all this work and not know what's going on, and everybody's going to be ahead of me. So I've eliminated it all. I don't have a class. You don't follow modules. When you tell me what you need, we get at it with strategies, and like we go right at those things when it's applicable. And if they need something else a little bit later, then we go right at that. It's like I'm doing one-on-one coaching might be different than some other people with a module system or a class, but like I don't have to worry about any of that.
It's good. Yeah. So was there like a question there or like
That was a statement.
Yeah, okay, cool. That's awesome. So you just one less objection yet.
But it also is a question too for like some people are looking for a program. So I don't have a program. So how do I handle that?
You know, like the prescription or like what if I was you, I'd be asking like what are some of the roadblocks or that you're having right, well, like why can't you get to the goal by yourself? Like what do you feel like you need? And I'll just be writing them down. And then whatever they say, it's like, oh, I still know what to eat. And like some days I get off track and it takes me a few days to get back in the gym. I beat myself up if I miss a day in the gym. Next thing you know, it turns into a week and like I'm guilt eating or whatever they say. I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to need like the same stuff anyway. So you could either do like the testimonial route, like, hey, I had a client just like you who, they're also, they're busy. So sometimes they miss a few days, but like I made sure that I was holding them accountable. We're not going to beat ourselves up if we miss a few days in the gym, but I'm here to make sure you get right back on track as fast as possible. Yeah. Because that's normal. Like people, like I don't need you to be perfect, but we just need to start making these incremental improvements so that it's not about like, it's more so about like moving in the right direction than like for sure getting there. So it's like, That's what we're really talking about here, right? Like if you had the right, meal plans, if you had like the custom training plan, and you had somebody who's like keeping you accountable, you feel like there's any reason you wouldn't be able to be successful.
Yeah.
Something like that. You can also sell against programs. What do you feel like you need a program for? Like what, like specifically, like programs are usually cookie cutter. You know that, right? Like, you feel like you need like a cookie cutter program like these other guys, or do you need like a more like customized support? Right? Because somebody who's 200 pounds overweight, their program is going to look different than somebody who's 20 pounds overweight, right? They need different stuff. So you can sell against it. Or, I don't know. Maybe it just depends, I guess, really, like what's their actual objection? Like, why do they feel like they need a program?
There really isn't one. I mean, I was just making a statement of like mostly like because of the way that what I do is set up, I don't have that objection at all as far as like people getting behind or wanting to wait until it's a better time or anything like that. Like there is no better time. I can help you out in 3 days.
Yeah.
If you got 3 days, great. We'll do that in 3 days. If you got 24 hours, awesome. If we can do this in 2 weeks, great. But like, it is.
Yeah, it's like I'd be like, my job is to get you the result, right? And I'm going to customize it to you. Like if you only have, I just basically say what you just said. If you only have an hour a week, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Do you care more about the plane ride to Hawaii, or do you care about being in Hawaii when you're going on like a vacation? I want to be in Hawaii. Cool. So I'm going to help you do. Is there any objections in here that you guys get, which are not answered in this document, that we can kind of talk about right now? Obviously, there's like all like weird ones and stuff, but there's always some.
I feel like the mysterious one is the fear one, because like how do you like gauge whether it's that and like not one of the ones that they're like presenting it as?
I never assume it's fear. I want to go through all the logistical, like logical reasons why they can't move forward. And only once we've kind of like eliminated all those reasons, then I'm like, okay, is it fair to say it's just a bit of nerves, or like you're just looking for a bit of certainty? Then if they agree to that frame, yeah, it is just nerves. Like I've never paid this much for a coach before, for example.
So you always just work through the things as they come, like, and then fear would just be the last one to knock down if it's still there. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
If they agree that it's just nerves, then you can just like hammer that objection. It's just like, okay, well, it's like, do you want to, you can play to their identity, right? It's like, do you want to go fear and uncertainty? Well, the main thing with uncertainty is like, do they believe that if they give you the money, they'll get the result? They're like, I guess you could say there's like, so fear, self-doubt, like uncertainty in the sense that like they have the money, they feel like it'll work, but they're just still uncertain. Like they're kind of the same. But I was just gonna say, like, when it comes to like the person who's like, yeah, it's just nerves, you just be like, okay, well, listen, man, like I get that. Like it can be a scary thing, like trying to break out of your comfort zone. But what we're talking about here is getting to a point where you can comfortably play guitar in front of people, and so that you can get all these things that you said you wanted. Now, to do that, like I was actually back up, like, do you want to be the type of person that actually goes after what they want? Like they're driven by their vision, or do you want to be the person that is driven by their fears? Like all the things that you know you want to do, but you're just afraid to do it. Like, which one would make you more proud of yourself? Probably the first one. All right, well, let's do it. Or like, well, okay, well, like, what choices do you feel like you need to make to put yourself in the best position to play guitar like you want. I guess I need to work with you. Yep. Great. Let's get started.
I feel like the uncertainty thing, as you've presented it, is like the uncertainty is like uncertainty of the process, whereas fear is more like their personal fear, fear on their end. Would you
Yeah.
say that's right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like it could be a lot.
No, I
Like,
think I got it. Yeah.
but again, it's like with fear, you're just kind of like getting them to take responsibility. Like you're responsible for your decisions. You can play to their identity. Like, who do you want to be? Like, you want to be the person that just lets their fear dictate their life, or do you want to be the person that goes after what they want? Right. Hey, if you're the second type of person, I can help. If you're the first type of person, like no guitar trainer is like going to be able to help because you're always
Yeah.
just use that for the rest of your life.
No one can help you.
Yeah. The thing is, like, if you say, is it just nerves too? Like, if you've gone through everything, that's like a minimizer.
Yeah, I like that.
Like, oh yeah, I guess it is just nerves. Dude, totally normal. I would feel weird about you if you didn't have any nerves about this. Obviously, it's like cheaper to go on YouTube and not pay anything to learn guitar. But how many great guitar players, came from practicing like they got to like play at the level that you want to play because they just watch YouTube videos all day.
Yeah.
Not many, right? Like, hey, I wouldn't have paid 50 grand to go to college to learn guitar if I could have just learned on YouTube. But you think it was like an easy choice for me to drop 50K to do this? No. But I knew that I wanted to be able to play guitar and I wanted to travel and like go on tours and stuff, and that was like the best way for me to do it. So like the more you can use your own analogies, stories, it helps because you'll have more conviction in your own stuff.
Yeah. At what point are you like, do you go for the deposit? Like, when does that
Yeah.
become
So
interesting?
so if it's like basically if it's a logistical reason that they can't close the day, it's like, well, yeah, it's like I want to get started, but I don't have the money in my bank account right now. I get paid. Let's say it's the 24th. I get paid on the 29th, and then I'll be able to do it. Right. Or it's like the spouse, I have to talk to my spouse. Like I
Yeah.
100% want to do this. We had the money, but like I have to run it by her. Like I just have to have this conversation. Like anytime we talk about big purchases above like $1,000, like it's just our rule. We have to talk to each other. Like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Like, yeah, so you can just go for the deposit.
I feel like weird in the back of my mind asking them for the deposit when it's like the spouse thing, because it's like it's still like a good thing and I think I should do it, but it's like if they're gonna say no, like why wouldn't they just wait that day?
If
But
they say
like
no, it's like it tells you something. Like, hey, it's a refundable deposit. You just put this down, we can you're like if there's no risk to it, it's like, hey, like I'll get you you can either like close them and say, I'll like you sign up today. We'll get you started. I'll let you in the members area. You can go through the trainings, talk to your wife. And if she's like, hell no, like I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to follow your dreams of being a guitar player. I'll give you all your money back. But at least that way you can kind of get inside and you can start making some progress towards your goals.
yeah.
I would rather do that than just like get the deposit. But you always want to go for like the biggest commitment you can from them. Obviously, the first one's paying in full, the second one's payment plan, or maybe financing if you do that. Then like a deposit, or you get their credit card number so you can run. It's like, okay, like how long do you need? Okay, cool. She's in it. Okay, like I'll write down your credit card information now, and as soon as you're ready, like we can just run it. So you could do that. Like the lowest form of commitment is like Okay, let's just have a follow-up. They don't put anything down. You know, like I get, well, really the lowest forms, they just jump off. You're like, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Okay, so basically,
I could ask something in here specifically about deposits
well, it's
somewhere.
like
When to go for a
see you
deposit.
later, that's like nothing. And you have like the follow-up.
Levels,
Deposit.
pay in full. Payment plan. Yeah, this adds to the I guess the bottom part of this document.
Yeah, that's cool. In full payment plan, financing, deposit. If my program is 2K, what would I ask for, in your opinion, as a deposit?
I would do 10% probably. Doesn't really matter. Okay, cool. Let's do like a refundable deposit. How much time do you think you need? All right, awesome. Well, I think if every follow-up call, if you just made it part of your procedure, like I don't have a follow-up call unless you put down a deposit. You know, that's how I know that you're serious enough to at least have a second call.
Yeah.
And it's refundable. That's like the biggest thing. It's like, hey, if you don't want to do it, just give you your money back. But you also frame it as like, when you put down your deposit, I can give you some homework. You know, like I'll let you in the program or like something like that. Like I'll give you some some homework to do so that we can get ready and just hit the ground running when we do work together.
Yeah.
Right. So it's an exchange.
Yeah, and you're keeping that momentum going.
Yeah, it's like you're like emotionally committing to what you want, right? It's not like, oh, I'm gonna hold your spot or I'm gonna like hold your painful discount or some shit like that. See you, Brian.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. My guy had to reschedule, otherwise I'd be on the call right now. So,
Damn.
he seems like a good fit though.
See you, Katie. Yeah, so I guess while you guys got me here, what else? Have any other questions, Becky or Julian?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I just need to like go in and like drill this stuff and
Yeah.
keep making it work. Like conceptually, it's all lined up in my brain, but like having that just access to it where it's like boom, boom, like I know where to go. That's, the exercise that I need.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like I made this reel the other day. You might have saw it. It's like I think amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong, right? So especially with the wording, that's why I wanted to do a bit of a role play on this call. Because it helps just not have to
Down.
scroll through a document to.
I know, yeah.
It's like,
You need
oh,
all
fuck,
that stuff like in your head.
right.
It's crazy, yeah.
It's like, oh, let me scroll through. Like, let me think about it.
And they're like, I think it's just the money, and you're like sitting there like looking
Yeah.
at it.
Right. That's why I had I have the frameworks up here. It's like,
Yeah.
so it's like really quick. So it's like disarm. You want to double tie down certainty, identify the real problem, think about it. Right. If it's spouse, okay, like again, double if that's a person and say, yeah, I just gotta talk to my wife. Okay, cool. Like hey, besides that, do you feel like this process I walked you through can get you to the result though? Yeah, what makes you feel that way? Okay, cool. And like, is your right? Like, let me actually share my screens. But like these frameworks right here, it's like you come up with your own words, but it's like the supportive partner frame.
That's
Okay,
the
is she
main idea,
supportive
yeah.
of you knowing that? Is she supportive of your goals of becoming, XYZ guitar player? Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So when you go to talk to her, is it more of like you want her support, or is like you need her permission? Okay, well, like if it's permission, like, well, what happens if she says no? I do it anyway. Oh, well, okay. You can go for a deposit then. If she says no, I don't think I do it. Okay, well, like, what do you feel like some of her concerns would be? Well, it's just a lot of money. Oh, okay. Gotcha. It's just a lot of money. So you wouldn't have to tie down again on certainty. Like, okay, well, if you had the money, would you do it? Yeah. Why? Why? Because I really want to. Gotcha. So you could just say, okay, is it more of a case that like you would have to find the $2,000, like you just don't have it liquid right now, or is it the case like you have the money or at least access to it? You're just like a little unsure about moving forward. That's like logistics or fear. And if it's like logistics, you can say, okay, well, like, would it help if I, broke it up for you? Hey, if I was able to make it a bit more manageable for you, so you did like in most cases, most of my clients pay it all up front, but sometimes I let them break it up.
Mhm.
If I can make it a bit more manageable for you, would that help? Yeah. Okay, cool. So you can say, okay, I have option A or B. So we could split up into 2 pay of 1,000, or like a 3 pay of 750, 750, 750 or something like that.
Mhm.
Which one works better for you? Or you can go open wallet. So open wallets, there's a whole thing for it right here.
Okay.
Sometimes open wallet's better because then you're like, oh, you actually had the money. Like, why don't you just pay? Are you just like, is it just nerves? Yeah. Okay, let's just do this, man. But that's why the frameworks, right? Hey, like money logistics. They can literally cannot pay the full amount and need a payment plan. Okay, cool. So it's just a matter like you just don't have it's not a case where like you don't think this will work for you. Like it's just like you just don't have it. You just don't have 2K sitting there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. If I broke it up, would that help? Yes. Okay, cool. So you can either go through, if you have like set in stone payment options, you can go through that, or you go through the open wallet to come up with like a custom plan.
Lately, I've just been like at the end of the pitch, I've just said like it is 3 payments.
I wouldn't
I
do
say
that.
don't do it like that.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
Well, I do the like it's 2,400 in 3 payments, or it's 2K if you want to pay in full.
Yeah, I would. How long is it, the training?
3 months.
3 months. Okay, yeah.
12 weeks.
It's cool. So it's 2,400 split up over 3 months, or if you want to prepay in advance, it's 2K. So you save $400. That's how I would do it if you did that way.
Yeah.
But I want to sell them on the program first. I'm like, okay, cool. So program for me to like help you get to XYZ so that you can blah blah blah. It's so it's like, yeah, so the program is like we work together for 3 months to help you get to XYZ. It's just 2,400. And then sell sell them on the 2,400. And then like once they're like, like that's a lot of money. Yeah, money aside though, do you feel like this will work for you? Or do you feel like this can get you to where you're looking to go though? Yeah, I do. Okay, well, what makes you feel that way? Oh,
So
yeah,
don't
like
mention the
it's
2K
good.
discount. Don't mention the 2K like until it gets to that.
I mean, you can because you'll typically have more people go for the payment plans if you do it that way. Like if you want pay in fulls, um, like you sell them on like the 2,400 first,
Mhm.
right? Like you sell them on the 2,400. I like there's actually like this is a tricky thing about sales, right? It's not like one's right and one's wrong.
Yeah.
Like I've done both. Like it's perfectly fine if like it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter to you. If like listen, it's 2,400 split up over 3 months, or it's 2K if you want to prepay in advance. That's exactly how I would say it. So you save $400. Which one makes more sense for you? I would probably say something like that. Otherwise, I would just do it, sell them on the 2,400 and then like go into payment plans or stuff.
If necessary.
If necessary.
Because
So it's
yeah,
like, yeah.
with what you have highlighted right here, I was gonna say like, does it make sense to add in though, like, is it a matter of like you finding the money or like do you have the money? You know, like that
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah. So there's actually like another one in here, um, down in the wording part, but it's like, yeah, money aside though, do you feel like this can get you where you looking to go with your guitar playing? Yeah. What makes you feel that way? Cool. So if you had the 2K, 2,400 just in your
See,
bank
but
account
that right
extra,
there like assumes
would
well,
you do
it
it?
kind of doesn't. I'm reading that as like it sounds like you're assuming they don't have the money, but I guess you're not
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
if you
if
had the money.
it depends what they say, right?
Yeah, like money aside, like this would be a great fit for me for sure.
Okay, cool. So if you had the money, would you do it? And they might say, I have the money. And then you could say, oh, okay. So you have the money. Is it just a matter of like you're not 100% sure that you're just not 100% certain about moving forward? Is it just nerves? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
So to me, I mean, do you have people say that when you say like if you had the money, they just say like, well, I do have the money?
Some people will say that, yeah.
Some people will say that. I feel like I would more naturally like want to say like, is it a matter of you having the money instead of like I mean, like obviously you're the sales guy, but like I'm just telling you like where my intuition would go, and maybe that's wrong. But it's like if they had the money, they're sitting on it,
You could
and
ask, is this a lot of money? Okay, is it more of a case you could just literally go right to this one then? You know, like if you like, I like to say this, if you had the money, would you do it?
yeah,
Well, why would you? Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, cool. Would it be fair to say it's more of a case of like you don't have 2,400 liquid
yeah,
in your bank account right now, or is it like you do have the money, but you're just a little
yeah.
hesitant about moving forward?
I think the number two thing is almost like not so much about whether they have the money or not, maybe. It's about like, are they really sold?
It's
Like,
isolating. Like
yeah,
it's like this was like isolating certainty, right? Hey,
yeah,
money aside, you have to say money aside. And you could also do like scale 110, like money aside, like where are you in terms of the process? Like one to 10. One is like, I don't think this will work for me at all. 10 is like, this is exactly what I need.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So if you had the 2,400 in your bank account right now, like, would you do it? Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Why would
yeah.
you? Well, I really want to. Okay, cool. It's like, this is like getting them like back on the line, right? It's like, yeah, I would do it. It's just, okay. So is it fair to say that it's just like a matter of like, you have to come up with the money, like you don't have it liquid right
Yeah,
now? Or
yeah,
is it like you do have the money, but it's just like, it's just like, I'm a bit hesitant about moving forward. I'm
yeah.
just a little unsure about moving forward because maybe you've never done it before. You never hired a coach or something like that, or it's
Yeah.
more money than you thought you'd have to spend. Like whatever they say. If you also, I have this here. If you can sense they don't have the money, so I have to go. I have to just go think about the money. Okay, like can I ask, like when you go think about the money, is it a case where you just don't have the 2,400 liquid right now? Yeah. Oh man, that's not a problem. I have plenty of clients that a bunch of broke boys. Like I have other clients that like I was able to still help. If you want, I can kind of go through some options with you. Yeah, yeah. What do you got? Cool, man. Well, I don't have any set. Like this is open wallet frames. Like, well, I don't have any really like, set payment plans. I'll just go through this whole open wallet frame. It's super helpful. So it's like this is okay. So this is what we were just talking about, right? What most people do in making an offer is they immediately give away their payment plans up front. So I think about your payment plans are like cards you can play. It's like I want to hold some of my cards. It's 2,400. Like is that all up front? Like yeah, most people pay up front. Can you do that? No. Okay. Well, cool, man. Well, like money aside, you feel like 100% you feel like this would work for you? And they go, yeah. Okay, so you're not in like a should I do this, but more of like a how can I make it work for me? Yeah. Gotcha. Well, most of my clients pay in full, but in some situations I do let them break it up. Now, I don't really have any set payment plans in place. It's all based on what's best for you. Are you open to having an open and honest conversation about where you're at financially? That way, we can find something that works for you now, or at the very least, create a game plan for the future. They go, yeah, I'm open to that. Okay, cool. What's your net cash flow for the next 30 days? In other words, how much money you have coming in, how much is going out in bills? After all your bills are paid, how much do you have left over? It's another way of saying that. And this one is, it's like, this is just to get them talking. Oh, yeah, I got like $500 after all my bills. Okay, cool. And what's your cash on hand right now? You know, oh, like my savings? Yeah, savings checking. It's like, how much do you actually have? I got like $5,000. Okay, like how much of that would you be willing to put towards this? Maybe like 1,200. You know, I have some other bills coming up and stuff. Okay, cool. And like, what about credit? And I'm not saying you have to use it, but do you have access to it? Yeah, I got like a credit card with like $2,000 on it, or $1,000 limit. And then like whatever they say, you can be like, okay, well, you have 5K, you could put 1,200, you have an extra 1,000, so like you could do it right now. Like I don't feel like putting all your money up front is what's best for you, but I also don't feel like it's best for you to just leave empty-handed. Like we should be getting a plan together so that you can start moving towards your goal. So hey, if I was able to, basically what you want to do is like whenever you make a payment plan, like using the open wallet frame, it's like a negotiation. Hey, if I was able to do this for you, would you do it today?
Yeah.
Right. So hey, if you put down, 1,000, let's say we put down 1,000 today. So we broke it up, and then like, I don't know, like if they say, you just come up with a payment plan. So they say, hey, if we put down 1,000 today, and then like this time next month, put down the rest, could you do that? Yeah, I could do that. Okay. I mean, if I would do that for you, breaking it up like that, would you move forward today?
Yeah.
So that's open wallet. Like again, you don't necessarily have to do that.
I think it's good to be able to, yeah.
No, I think it's the better way, because like oftentimes like you'll find that they do have the money. It's like, oh, like you actually easily could do that. They're like, I have like 50 grand in my bank account. Oh, so you could do it. I'm like, yeah, just do it, man. Like, why not just do it? Like, yeah, all right, fuck. Right. Sometimes like people are just like literally, if you think about like a teeter-totter, it's like the whole call is kind of like moving them, where it's just like they just need a nudge, and they're like, all right, let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
But this is the way if you don't want to go through the whole open wallet. Okay, right. So it's like, you go through is it logistics or fear? And they're like, yeah, it's just logistics. Okay, cool. Well, if that's the case, would you like me to see? Would you like me to show you? It's either would you like me to show you how we can break this down to a more manageable process for you rather than investing it all at once? Or would you like me to break down how we can make this into however you want to say this, a more if that's the case, we can look at breaking it up. Would that help you? Anything like that, rather than investing all up front, like we could break it up. Would that help you? Yeah, that would. And then literally you could just do, okay, we could do like 2 payments of 12 or 3 payments of 800, which would make more sense for you. You could do it that way. It's not like one's right, one's wrong.
Yeah. We can do X payment plan. Yeah.
It's like you could do a 2-pay or a 3-pay. That's basically what I would do.
Well, right off the bat, like if you or me, would you be going for the open wallet thing, or like with the trumpet thing, like what did you go to first?
No, we didn't really do open. So yeah, that guy's very particular about the way that he sold that.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let me do open wallet. He'd be like, all right, well, he would go for like so basically, yes, he would go for pay in full first. So 6,800. And then like we could split it up. So you put down half now and then half in 6 months, which is like ridiculous. I think it should be like within 30 days, but that he had a year-long program. So he went for painful and then payment plans. So you do like, okay, what if I met you halfway? We put down 3,800 today, and then in 6 months we did another 3,800. And then it's like, okay, they can't do 3,800. Okay, what if we broke it up into three payments of this? Yeah, or whatever the number was, right?
Yeah.
So it was like half and half. Okay, what if we did thirds? And if they're like, I can't do thirds. Then we could go into financing. So okay, well, like, we could do like that way. If they didn't apply for like if they didn't want to do financing, or if they didn't qualify for it, we could look at like a downsell, which in his case was going from a year-long program to like a 6-month program.
Yeah.
And then breaking that up. And if that didn't work, we can go to a 4-month program and break that up, or look at financing for that. So
Yeah. And then if they do the pay in half, do you like contractually obligate them to like go through with the second half, or do you just like leave it up in the air? Like when that time comes, they're either gonna like pay the second half or not.
I mean, if you have a contract, you definitely put it in there. Say, okay, so the client pays this today and this in 30 days from today, or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, if people don't want to pay you, like, like your contract can say whatever the fuck it wants, but it's like, if they're not going to pay you, they're not going to pay you. You can try to sue them, but it's going to cost you more to sue them.
Yeah.
You get the money than it would to just like let it go.
Yeah. Well, I guess the thing about the subscription that's nice, I believe like if you do the subscription with a firm, you can have it like automatically come out. Like I guess they could probably cancel
Yeah.
that, but like at least then it's like in motion. I doubt you could
Yeah.
do that like a 6 month in advance like prepaid thing on Stripe. That might be kind of weird.
What do you mean?
Well, like, could you set it so that Stripe is going to charge them this amount like 6 months from now?
I would just have like an Excel sheet with like, I like things like low tech. I don't know if you can do that on Stripe. You probably could, but
Yeah.
I would just have it's like, okay, on this date, I'm going to charge. I would like to have the card on file so I could just
You
charge
have
them
the
again.
card on. Yeah.
Worst case, I'll like send them an invoice. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll send you an invoice. Um, and just do it manually. It is like a pain in the ass. Like that's why I don't like the longer the payment plans, it's like the more it's just like a logistical headache for you.
Yeah.
You know, so I like to collect as much upfront as I can. If I can't do a payment full, I would way rather do 50% down rather than like I would way rather do 50, at least 50% down, and then let them break up the rest however long they want. If I get at least 50% down, like I'm like that's good enough for me. Like whatever.
hmm And then like if they pay the 50% down, like you put the rest on a payment plan. The thing that I like have thought about is like if you go through like a firm, well like they're going to pay the other half. You're going to be basically paid in full if you get half from them and like half
Yeah.
on the firm plan. Now, if you do the other half like through your payment plan, like a subscription, the only problem is that like if it's like a year-long payment plan and your program's only 3 months, I guess they could get out of it and like only have paid you part. I don't know like how realistic of a worry. That's not a big worry of mine. It's just something you could think about. Like if they've paid the half and then they only pay like what, three of the payments out of like this year-long payment plan they were supposed to do with you.
Yeah. I mean, if they go through a firm, it's not really like not your problem if they don't pay the rest.
Yeah,
It's their
yeah,
problem. If you do it like your own payment plan to your own processor, that's why like I saw Emma said she started doing 12-month payment plans. Like I would never do that. Like like 2 pay is ideal if you have to split up. 3 pay is like I'll still take it. Anything more than 3 pay is it's like
yeah.
you gotta look at your collections and your AR and stuff. All right, oh, Becky's already done. Cool. Um,
I gotcha.
it just gets into dangerous territory or anything more than 3 times.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, this is great stuff. I just need to like master it. Like just read this every day or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's patterns, right? So like a lot of it is like there's very simple patterns. Like if you look at the frameworks, like okay, like this is like once you just learn the frameworks
Yeah.
alone, like that's why I have them here, like rather than like the specific
You're
wording, like
most of the
because
way there.
you can just like, oh, okay, well, gotcha, man. Well, money aside though, is this something that you actually want to do? Like, do you feel like this can work for you though? Yeah. Okay, what makes you feel that way? Like, so you will see like with the money framework, for example, like if I share this again, like if this is the first thing they say, like you would go to this. Like there's only one tie down. It's like, do you feel like this would work for you? Yeah. Okay. So if you had the money, would you do it? I would. Yeah. Why? Okay, because of that. Then. Like you can also just delete this and be like, okay, do you feel like it work? Yeah. What makes you feel that way? You could do like that. And then you could just go right to this. Or you could say, okay, cool. So you could say, where is this? An actual money. Like this is like money or certainty, right? Okay, so would be fair to say it's just an issue of the logistics of the investment rather than us actually getting you to the XYZ result or me actually helping you get to that XYZ result. They're like, yeah, it's just the money. Okay, so in your case, which is it? Is it that you have to go and find the 2400 or is it that you have the 2400 but you're just a little unsure of moving forward?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just got to find the money. I don't have it. I don't have 2400 in my bank account right now. Gotcha. Right. And so from there, you can either just go with payment plans or you do open wallet.
Yeah. I think I've gotten into like I've dealt with so many like broke clients that I've gotten into this pattern where like I'm trying to make it as like easy and like minimal for them. So like that's so like right away I'll be like, yeah, I have payment plans and stuff like that. And I need to just let them like sit with it a little bit more, um,
Yeah.
and work through them with the stuff. So yeah. But yeah, this will be super helpful to have.
Yeah. And also just probably make a copy and just customize all this stuff so that it's more related to guitar,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm. Well, I think I'm just gonna try and like roughly memorize it or memorize what I would say.
The other
Um,
thing too is that like it really helps if like I have it up here in the principles. I kind of just like brushed over this when I was explaining it, but which one is it? Uh Yeah, like number 9. It's like find one way of handling objections that you like the best and it's most natural for you, and then you just always guide them towards that. All right. So if you just like handling money, you can just go, okay. Like if they're like, yeah, I think about it. Gotcha, man. Can I ask, like, is it just the money that's making you go think about it, or is it like more so like the fact that you just aren't 100% sure if this is like the right move for you? Oh, it's just the
instead of
money.
asking like instead of asking, hey, what's coming up for you, like that you would need to think about.
Yeah, like if you just really learn the financial like logistics questions, because like
Yeah.
oftentimes, so you could just say like, cool, man, like is it a case that like um you could just ask like, okay, like money aside, do you feel like this can work for you though? Yeah, what makes you feel that way? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that you're more of in like a how can I make this work for me place versus like should I even do this? Yeah. Okay. So, gotcha, man. If that's the case, um, you can go into like either the open wallet or you could do like, is
Yeah.
it logistics or is it like the fear thing?
Because wouldn't you say like the vast majority of the time it is money? I mean,
Yeah, a lot of the
because
time.
like otherwise, like I mean, come on, like your girlfriend doesn't care like whether you play guitar or not. Like,
Yeah, she doesn't give a shit. That's why spouse
yeah,
is a
like,
smokescreen. It's like, come on, is it just the money, bro? Like,
I
what do
mean,
you
like
got?
yeah,
What do you feel like her concerns are going to be? Well, it's just, is it the money? Okay,
yeah,
gotcha. So with this conversation, be like, I'm just curious. When you talk to her, if she's concerned about the money, is it the fact that like you guys don't have the money liquid right now, like so you have to come up with it, or it's like you do have the money, but you just want to make sure that this is like the best path for you.
yeah,
Oh, it's probably the second one. Okay, well let's talk about it. Like it sounds like you're just looking for maybe like a bit of like certainty here, or like it's just gonna it, we can just like come up with scenarios all day, but it's just kind of like having a path that like, okay, if they say this, I can move to this part. If they say this, that means it's this.
right. I mean, I'm looking for like just where like the general list of like the five. Oh yeah, here it is. I mean, like certainty, think about it, spouse, partner, money, fear. I mean, I feel like that all boils down to like money and whether I'm gonna get the thing.
Yep.
But like it's
See, like
very
yeah, it's
valuable
just
to break it
literally
down into the five, but
like everything can be basically broken down. Just, if I give you the money, will I get the result?
yeah, exactly.
Or I don't have the money to give you, or the full amount up front.
Yeah.
Or it's like, hey, I want to do it, I have the money, but I'm just afraid. I won't tell you I'm afraid, but I'm
Yeah.
just like, I'm just not the type of person to make a decision on the call. It's like, okay, let's talk about that, man. Like, are you happy? Or I guess, if someone says something like that, yeah, I'm just not the type of person to make a decision on the call. You can go down to like the first reframe here, like reframe number 2. If you scroll down, it's like the change of process. Okay, I can understand that, you're not the type of person. You might need to go think about it because it's a big decision or whatever. Hey, can I ask you a question though? Like, do you feel like your mindset, affects your decision-making process? And they go, yeah, I guess so. Okay, cool. And are you like 100% happy with where you're at right now with your guitar playing?
Yeah.
Well, no. Okay, well, like, do you want that decision-making process to dictate your results moving forward? No. Well, why not? Well, because I want to be a good guitar player and stuff like that. All right, well, like, what do you feel like you need to do to put yourself in the best position to play guitar like you want?
Yeah.
And we both know it's not going and thinking about it. You could also add something like that. And we both know, like, thinking about it, it's not going to help. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a powerful one for sure.
there's also ones that I don't have in here, like, hell, like, hey, do you have a guarantee? Oh, do you have a guarantee? I mean, well, let's talk about it, man. Like, guarantee aside, like, guarantee aside, do you feel like this process can get you where you're looking to go? Right? Or can I ask, hey, what makes you ask for a guarantee? Okay, and besides the guarantee, is there anything else preventing you from feeling like this is the right thing, now it's the right time? And they go, whatever they say. Well, you could just say, hey, well, gosh, man, I'll be honest. Some of my clients don't get the results. Now, the only reason that happens is because they aren't doing the work, right? They aren't showing up for the training. They're not practicing. They're not doing the things that they need to do to get better at guitar. They're just not taking this seriously, right? I can guarantee to show up in mine and teach you exactly what you need to play at the level you want. Never failed to do that. But can you guarantee that you'll do everything you can to practice and to learn the
Yeah.
things that you need to learn, right? Will you show up to the coaching calls? Will you go through the trainings? Will you practice every day? Because in life, nothing's guaranteed except death and taxes, right? Like, can you show me another area of your life where you get a guarantee? No, you can't. Right? I can't even guarantee that you'll cross the street and not get hit by a bus. All we can do
Yeah.
is put ourselves in the best position to win. So what do you need to do today to give yourself the best chance to succeed when it comes to playing guitar? What do you need to do right now? What
Yeah.
do you need to do tonight? What do you need to do today to to go to bed knowing that you you gave your guitar playing the best shot.
And then is that like at the end of, would you potentially add that like at the end of the fear one? Is that still like where we're at?
Like I'll just add this. Yeah, I'll just add this at the bottom here. Do you have a guarantee? So this is for like a lead gen offer. This is just from my old script, but you can literally just like tweak this so it's about playing guitar.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, so you just want to like, just make a copy of this document, make sure everything is like related to your stuff.
Okay, sweet.
Again, with that guarantee, it's a certainty objection. Do you have case studies? Do you have guarantees? Do you have anything like that? Certainty objections, right? Usually you want to throw it back on them. Well, hey man, like, can I ask what makes you ask for that? And then it's like, hey, isolating it. Besides guaranteed, is there anything else preventing you from feeling like this is the right thing for you and now it's the right time?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I just met you. I don't even know if you're good or not. Oh, okay, gotcha, man. Well, did you see my testimonials? Yeah, I work for other people, right? Right. And we've had a good conversation. Do you feel like the process I laid out for you is good? Like, do you feel like it can get you where you're looking to go? Yeah. Well, what makes you feel that way? Well, I mean, this and that. I get it. Okay, so cool. So, well, listen, man, I'll be straight up with you. Like, it's just like university. Like, is every single person that goes to university, do they all become A students? No. Why not? Well, some of them are like smoking weed in the bathroom and not going to class, right? And others are dedicated. They're putting in the work. So you be the type of student. Will you be the type of student that shows up every single day and does what I asked you to do and you put in the work and you do your homework? Or will you be the guy that's not taking it serious at all? Is just partying and it's like, is like skipping class and all this stuff. What type of person will you be? So it's like throwing it back on their, it's another like play to their identity. It's like, what type of student will you be? What type of client will you be? Right. So a lot of this is like, just, are you going to be this type of identity or this type of identity? So it's like, it's a binary decision. Like this type of person gets a result. They practice, they put in the work, they take this seriously. They ask me questions, like they come with homework or they do their homework. They show up, they do the work. Those are the people that this works for. Other people it doesn't work for.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't guarantee that you'll do the work, right? Like you tell me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and people need that. What I'm learning now about sales and stuff is like, you go in there like trying to solve this problem with them. And then like I didn't even realize how many other problems people had that like were probably way more pressing than playing the guitar. And then it's like, oh man, like, I thought I was trying to like help you be a better guitar player, but like maybe it's your self-esteem or your financial situation, all these other things that like, yeah, dude, like you should like go out and solve like all these and then like come back and do this. But obviously I'm gonna try to get them to buy, but yeah.
Well, I mean, what the thing is with sales, it's like whatever you're selling, it has to be like the thing. It's like, no, this is the thing. Like, oh, you have a self-esteem issue. That's just like guitar is gonna like
this is gonna like solve your whole life.
Like,
you can
yeah,
solve
you can't get a girlfriend, like play guitar. Like chicks love musicians. Look at John Mayer. He gets like the hottest girl.
It's
like it's guitar. Like if I'm selling sales training, like you don't need leads. Do you know like if you increase your conversion by 5%, it's the same as getting 20% more leads? Yeah. So it's like your problem isn't that you don't have enough leads, is that you're not closing them. So that's what we need to fix. And like if I'm selling leads, I'm like, you don't worry about sales. You have nobody to talk to. Like, what are you talking about? You need more leads.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you have confidence. You can't play guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's so much, I don't want to like excuse myself, but I feel like it's so much easier with like financial offers because it's just like, dude, like you fucking need to get yourself together financially. Like
Yeah.
everyone does.
Yeah, but again, it's like this, you can make the same thing. It's like So I have this diagram on my whiteboard here. It's like it's a house. Like on the bottom, it's like your being, your body, your bonds, or your relationships, and your business or career, your bank account. So it's like guitar. If I were to like, I guess it would be at the bottom. It's like your being. It's like when you master guitar, how would that make you feel? You know, like how would things be different for you? Like how would you feel being able to play like that? And then it's like, oh, I feel so confident. I have, how would that affect your self-esteem, your confidence? And you'd be like, I believe that like self-esteem and confidence is the most important thing in life. And for me, master guitar is what got me there. So like, if that's your thing, that's your thing. Like you don't need to worry about your bank account and stuff. If you're like, you hate your life and you have no self-expression, you have no creative outlet, and you have no confidence, like you need to fix these things and it will have a downstream effect on your money and it'll have a downstream effect on your relationships. Does that make sense? Do you agree with that? So if they agree to that frame, it's like, that's like the sale.
Yeah, that's interesting because like within some of the material you've given me, it does get into like how would this affect the other areas of your life? And to be honest, until this moment, like hearing you say that, I kind of glossed over that. I think because like I didn't believe that like it would impact the rest of their life. And like maybe I still don't fully believe that. And like I need to like dive into that more. Um
Well, like, did guitar playing make you feel better about yourself? Like more confident at all, more self-esteem, anything like that?
it's
Did it
hard to
have,
say because like I did this. I've done this since I was like 11 years old, so it's not like
what
I
made you
was
start?
going
Like what
after.
made you start playing guitar?
Well, my father just gave me one and you know, he plays, but he didn't really show it to me. He just kind of gave it to me. And I loved music, and so it was just kind of a matter of figuring it out.
Why did you love music though?
Why did I love music? Um, I don't know, it's exciting. It makes you feel good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
boom.
energizes
It's
you.
exciting. It makes you feel good. Bro, how many
Yeah.
people just go through life not feeling excited, not feeling good? Most people has like the mass. What does Henry Thoreau say? It's like the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. They have no excitement. They have no passion. They have no creativity. They just like, like they live kind of like drones in the matrix, and then they just go and die one day. They haven't
Yeah.
really lived. All they did is pay their bills.
Yeah.
But musicians are different.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of true. So that's a good point. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the quote. It's like I'm just writing another principle about the identity thing, and what's the quote about commitment? Like people always act in like according to what they said. Something to do with commitment. It's a commitment bias or consistency. Yeah, consistency bias. That's what it's called. Anyway, I'm gonna tweak this some more, but
Yeah. Identity is the highest driver of behavior, so we need to give them the option of which identity they want to be.
when it comes to
Identity
like,
is the driver of behavior. Like
I
I
might
do this
just
because I am this.
no, it's like like are you the when it comes to like fear? Do you want to be the type of person that like lets their fear dictate their decisions? Their
Yeah.
self-doubt, or do you want to be the type of person that's like driven by their vision and their passion and like where they're going? Like which version of you would make you more proud?
Proud?
Yeah, which one would you be more
No,
proud to be?
yeah.
Like the person who makes
Yeah.
decisions based on what they want or what they're scared of?
Yeah.
What you want to happen, what you're scared of happening.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I think I do need to dive more into like the value of the real values of learning this. Because I think I take them for granted.
Like guitar in general?
Yeah, like I mean like I do say like in my marketing and in my reels like oh like it's such a great thing to have in your life like this skill and mainly from like the creative outlet, you know. I guess I should talk about that more to be honest. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, dude,
just
it's like
underlying values.
like like if I was going to go and like it's just like believing that your thing is like the number one thing. Like if I was a health coach, I'd be like, don't worry about your business and stuff. Like if you have an unhealthy body, that's like the number one thing. Don't worry about making more money if you're unhealthy. Like everything is health. And I was like, dude, like everything is guitar. Like there's a reason why I chose to dedicate my life to playing guitar rather than going and becoming a banker or like fucking, I don't know, a lawyer or some shit like that. Like you could make more money. It's like, no, it's like, don't you want to feel alive on a daily basis? Like, don't you want to
Yeah.
express yourself and like have fun and like, and just like all this shit.
Yeah, that's gold. So like
And
man,
it's true. Like it has to be true to you though.
it
If it's not
is
true,
true.
yeah.
So you're here right now because like you're not feeling like as alive as like you'd like to, you know, like you
Yeah.
kind of it's true. So yeah.
Like if you read the book like Psycho-Cybernetics, which is a classic book, which you should read, that's like the first thing he says. Like most people just don't like what they're really looking for is like a sense of like aliveness. Like they want to feel like alive. Like, oh, like when was the last time you felt like electric, like alive? Like
Yeah.
most people feel that when like they jump out of a plane or like do something extreme or like go on a vacation or something. Like, why don't you feel like that every single day? It's because you have no musical outlet. You have no creative outlet, you know?
Yeah.
You like,
It is true. I mean, like you're living and focusing on like subsistence stuff. Like I need my money, I need my relationships,
yeah.
uh, whatever to make it to the next day. But you're always sacrificing like the higher self-fulfillment, self-realization. Is it realization or actualization? Whatever it is.
Oh, Becky's asked me questions. Um, do, 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 do.
Hmm.
I'm trying to like, Becky asked me a good question. I mean, it is a good question. Like, what's the difference between fear and uncertainty? Like,
I
there's
think
two,
you might be
like,
looking at the old thing, right? Because Becky's,
no, she just asked.
oh, again?
Yeah, yeah. So it's like uncertainty in the process, but like fear, part of fear is like fear could be just straight up fear. Like, it's like, I don't know. Or like self-doubt, or it could be, it's not that it's not that they're uncertain in like you or your process or even themselves. It's just like they're uncertain in like making a decision. I think that's the fear. Like they're afraid of making a decision, basically, right?
Hmm.
Like they just don't want to make the wrong decision.
Don't want to make the wrong one.
So it's like even if they 100% believe, like it's a good example. I'm trying to think of like an analogy for this. So it's like like if you're gonna get married to a girl,
Yeah.
let's say like, hey, I dated this girl. I think she's amazing. She's like the best girlfriend I've ever had. And like I can see her like being my wife and us having an amazing future. And you could still be like, I don't know if I want to get married. Like it's like, it's a big decision. It's not that you're uncertain in
Yeah.
her. It's like you're an uncertain person.
Yeah.